gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you knew good for me. That's why me know I said me if it could flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away me self. Have to take away myself. I have to utilize my wings. Show the eye clean where I
Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. This is yours truly, Franco. Today we have a very important guest, none other than Miss Nehanda Helmker. She is our returning guest because she was here 2 weeks ago. And today she's going to continue with more about money, but she's going to go in deeper depths. So stick around, don't go nowhere. Whatever drink you having this morning, or you have to go get your drink, you know, as usual, your morning coffee, tea, go ahead and do it. But I'm going to be linking up with flavors as well. So sit back and enjoy Tafina with our introduction song as I get flavors on the line.
Through the door, take away ourselves.
Hi, I am Alison Goodness, and you are watching the Real Stuff podcast with Flavius and Franco. Uniquely Caribbean.
Yes, indeed. Welcome once again. We'll be linking up with Flavius in a few minutes. But this morning I'm going to play a song because we're looking for a brighter day today. It's bleaky outside where I'm at in Miami. I don't know what the weather look like in your neck of the woods. But it's bleaky. But not only because it's bleaky am I looking for a brighter day, but for all the madness that is going on, the coronavirus, the U.S. election, and you just name it. You know, people need food, etc., because unemployment is still on a high number in the U.S. And they're still trying to decide who is the winner of yesterday's presidential election. But we need a brighter day. So, Culture Doc, take us away into a brighter day.
Jah, all I'm asking for is a brighter day. Just send it our way, oh Jah. Sealer. A brighter day. We're looking for a brighter day. A brighter day. Just send it come my way. Jah, why mankind so bitter? Turn them away from Lucifer. It's like some boy a drink devil soup for breakfast, lunch and dinner. It doesn't matter what the wicked say, the righteous will never run away. Oh, please, my car soldier, you are my guide and my protector. We're looking for a brighter day, a brighter day, a brighter day. Just send it come away. A brighter day. We're looking for a brighter day, a brighter day. Just send it come away. Two them system design a lot of youth a suffer. No succumb to the pressure, so them run and go for. No stop clap it up, now them a big time killer. And the same system melt them out like butter. Mama cry papa ball, but it can't get better. Lifeless body lay down all over, so we have to turn we face out to the Father. And ask him for a brighter day, a brighter day, a brighter day. Just send it come away. A brighter day. We're looking for a brighter day, a brighter day. Just send it come away. Them dirty system of fraud, oh Lord. We see clear down a yard and broad. How them a treat poor people like dog, while poor people life so hard. Oh, what a pity. Why so much homeless in a them city? Lord, what a calamity. You know, sister, this a world and not pretty. So we asking for a brighter day, a brighter day, a brighter day. Just send it come away. A brighter day. We're looking for a brighter day, a brighter day. Just send it come away. A brighter day now. We're looking for a brighter day, brighter day, yeah. A brighter day now. A brighter day, brighter day, yeah. A brighter day, a brighter day, a brighter day, yeah.
This is your very own Caribbean podcast. Uniquely Caribbean with Flavius and Franco. Welcome.
It's alright.
It's alright, it's okay. Just hang on a little bit longer, cause tomorrow is another day. It's alright, it's okay. Just stand firm in the face of adversity and watch them fade away, 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 life of a wave will carry you down when the money in the bank gets shorter and the bills are coming and you're caught in between the devil and the deep blue water. I know say that when you come home my yard and the people them I look them sober. So you do what you can, cause a man is just a man and you now make the people them sober. And you pray to the Father when this tribulation I go in, but remember Jonah in the belly of the whale and Daniel in the lion's den. It's alright, it's okay. Just hang on a little bit longer, cause tomorrow is another day. It's alright, it's okay. Just stand firm in the face of adversity and watch them fade away, 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 I say time of a wait to test your faith, so you got to have enough endurance. One day at a time, just keep on trying, cause time carry no insurance. No matter how the situation hard, things can only get better. Just have some faith, everything will go great, cause nothing never lasts forever. And you pray to the Father when this tribulation I go in, but remember Jonah in the belly of the whale and Daniel in the lion's den. It's alright, it's okay.
Just hang on a little bit longer, cause tomorrow is another day. It's alright, it's okay. Just stand firm in the face of adversity and watch them fade away, 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 away. It's alright, it's okay. Just hang on a little bit longer, cause tomorrow is another day. It's alright, it's okay. Just stand firm in the face of adversity and watch them fade away.
This is your very own sports, music, and lifestyle podcast with Flavius and Franco. Welcome.
Yes, we're back with the Real Stuff podcast. Flavius is on the line. Greetings, Flavius.
Good day, good day all. Listeners, viewers, and of course, Franco.
Yes, sir.
What's happening this morning?
A lot of stuff happening. U.S. election, presidential election is still up for grab.
Yeah,
Anyone
I
can
was
win.
I was watching it last night, but after a while I just went to sleep because I didn't see it going anywhere.
Exactly. It get boring.
Yeah. It's talking about the same things over and over and over and over and over and over,
I'm telling you, man.
and no light at the end of the tunnel. You know.
Well, them have
Yeah.
countings going on in some of the key states that
Mhm.
should decide the election between Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia. Those are
Okay.
like what, 5 of the key states,
Mhm.
and it can go anywhere. You can go to any one of them. You can get back the incumbent, as well as you can have a new elected
new-
president.
A new man, yeah.
You know, but either way, they're going to have to deal with the thing them call coronavirus,
Oh yes.
because this thing is not going away. Because yesterday during election day, they recorded 91,000 cases,
Uh-oh.
and
Mm-mm.
it's building up big in the Midwest. And the Midwest I'm talking about is like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Michigan,
Mhm.
you know, North and all them places, Dakota and all them. You know, I mean, it's really bubbling up there.
Mhm.
It's really bubbling, and we have to give thanks to these people them call first responders,
Yeah.
because they're
So,
really
like,
them really a work off them
Okay.
tail, you know.
Yeah.
Really a work off them tail. So for those of you out there, you this morning were first responder, whether you be doctor, nurse, ambulance worker, police, you need
Yeah.
the grocery worker, the bus
Like a big
driver, the
deal.
train, the commute, driver, whatever.
Mhm.
We want to big you up this morning. A big up to you this morning. So the only thing we can do, that we can always do, is just give you a round of applause.
Yes.
It's enough big ups to all of you. Yes, Flavius. So what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'm seeing sunshine peeping out. You know, we had quite a bit of rain recently, up to yesterday. But we are seeing sunshine pushing out now.
Okay. That song.
And I'm just hearing this morning that Belize had a lot of rain.
Oh
But-
man. A lot of
Nicaragua.
flooding too went on in those regions.
Yeah, it's over Nicaragua now, so Nicaragua is taking a beating now.
Suppose I tell you something, you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you, right? The projection that I saw this morning on the news, it might end up, make a wild guess.
What's that?
Miami.
Miami?
They show you the projection coming through Honduras, and then it make a turn to Belize, and it come across right there over Cuba, right into Miami.
Yes.
So
it's turning back.
Yeah, so the landfall.
It's like a loop. It's making a loop back.
So the landfall projected to drop right into Miami. I'm like,
wow.
Whoa. what are the odds of we getting this? Because I figure this thing are gone. We up in somewhere around the South America belt. But it's what it is, If we forget it, we will get it. As a friend of mine said this morning, well, we need it, I said, what? Him say, for send a message to the people them in a Florida we vote and vote wrong. So I said, nah, man. Him said, trust me, we need it because them need to wake up and live.
But can you believe that the communists' argument still works?
Hey, it's something this morning when I heard it on MSNBC, this guy named Joe Scarborough was saying it. Him say odds after odds had the socialism, communism, and they beat it right down in Miami-Dade County. And for that race, only one candidate, one, and it's the female for mayor. She won, but every other Democratic candidate lost the race, except for she and a gentleman named Kiana McGee.
Well, no, it's 2020, right? I am remember in 1962. 1962, somebody, probably the US, I'm not sure, parked a ship just off the coast of Jamaica. And they use that to say, if the PNP wins, the Russians are out there ready to come and take over. I'm telling you.
It's unbelievable, man. And they're telling you that
I wouldn't expect 2020 that would still work.
Exactly, because people should know these things already. Listen to me.
Nope.
When Joe Scarborough outlined the voters who it affect, and he's saying Cubans, Venezuelan, and Nicaraguans, and he's saying for this time and age, it seems like people are not reading enough. They are not watching or researching enough to realize a country like United States.
They're not living enough. It's about it. You can't live with that type of fear.
Exactly.
When everything is gone.
But the president used it too. The president go up into what you call it, the Midwest here and Montana and all of those places, Wisconsin, and him use the same rhetoric.
Yeah.
He did.
Oh boy.
He said if you elect Joe Biden, the Democrat, are coming with socialism, communism, they're going to close your hospital, they're going to lock down. The man that go as far as say, you won't even get no Christmas. Hey, sometimes you have to laugh when you hear them guys that talk some things, but you have some people out there who buy into it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Anyway, let's move to the video.
Yeah, man, take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, did you know we are continuing the rest of the week with the diaspora, the Caribbean diaspora? What is the diaspora? It is said that it is said that on the surface, the Caribbean has a one-to-one with diaspora. That means that for every person in your country, there's a person in the diaspora. That means that the Caribbean diaspora would be over 40 million people. And that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. Because the Caribbean is over 40 million people. And that means that if you drill down to second and third generation, we're talking about 120 million.
Uh-huh.
So it is huge. And the diaspora, a number of things diaspora does. When people migrate, overseas to different countries, they work very hard and amass their money. They go to school, get their education, So it makes us better as a region, as a country, as a region, because we have a lot of qualified people out there who can come home or who can stay where they are in these new times and assist and experience, So it is very good for us, not to mention a major source of CARICOM income now is remittance. So we are benefiting in a lot of ways from our people who have migrated. We no longer can say, boy, they left them country and this and whatever. Those are days gone by. Now we are seeing the benefits of what they did and what they are doing. So let's ask Alison to give us today's episode of the diaspora.
Unlocking the economic potential of the Caribbean diaspora. There is nearly one person living abroad in the diaspora to every person still resident within the Caribbean, making the diaspora an untapped potential resource for economic development. Story highlights. 90% of Caribbean diaspora wants to engage deeper with the region, representing a significant untapped potential for economic development. Key barriers to increased engagement include low visibility and awareness of deal flow for local and diaspora angels, and a complex regulatory environment. Interventions to overcome these challenges should be designed for the Caribbean as a whole. The Caribbean diaspora is a sizable, well-educated, and affluent demographic whose large majority is interested in investing in its countries of origin. Due to the common heritage and strong connections across the region, they overwhelmingly take a regional approach to the Caribbean rather than a nationalistic one. Supported by the right incentives and policies, diaspora members could play an even larger role in contributing to the region's development. These are some of the findings of a new study, Diaspora Investing. The Business and Investment Interests of the Caribbean Abroad, by InfoDev, a global innovation program in the World Bank. The assessment brings together knowledge and data gathered from over 850 self-identified members of the Caribbean diaspora and sheds light on their characteristics and investment interests. The Caribbean diaspora is already significantly engaged in the region, with some 70% being formal or informally affiliated to organizations in their home countries. Half of those surveyed send remittances, and a full 85% give back to the Caribbean either through financial help or other support in kind. Moreover, 9 out of 10 would like to be even more engaged in the future, potentially as investors. With nearly one diaspora member living in North America or Europe for every resident still in the region, this ability to engage represents a significant untapped potential. There is also a growing community of angel investors among the diaspora that are already actively involved both where they live and back home. About 23% of respondents have already invested in a startup company of some sort in the Caribbean region. Looking forward, investors have expressed strong interest in financing sectors with high development potential for the region, such as green energy, mobile applications, education, and agribusiness. But challenges remain. The gap between real engagement and expressed interest remains significant. For instance, While 85% of diaspora members would be interested in investing in a business back home, only 13% of respondents do so today. The biggest barrier we found was visibility, explains Kahir Danani, author of the report. The money is out there, but there is a lack of awareness of investment opportunities, including what deals are there, what deals are high quality, and which entrepreneurs are receptive to angel investing. The bureaucracy associated with making such investments and weak legal enforcement were also highlighted as key barriers. The patchwork of regulations among different countries makes it difficult to unlock the latent demand for regionally focused investments among the diaspora. There should be a serious effort by policymakers and multinationals to create a uniform regulatory environment, says Danani. I am Alison Goodness with today's Did You Know?
Did You Know is brought to you courtesy of Slowly Jamaica, Uniquely Caribbean. Boy, Flavius. And it is so fitting that this morning, our guest that we're going to have this morning is our returning guest, actually. Is Miss Nehanda, my bad. Nehanda Helmker. So this money thing about the diaspora is so fitting perfectly for this morning guest. I want to know how many people study these things. How many people study these things? Or check out things?
I don't know. No clue. But there are people who do, There are people who do, but what we need for it to be, we need for the ordinary man to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
That is not only scholars. We need the ordinary person to know that it is so important when them families send them a $50.
Yeah.
It is very important. It adds up in the first instance, and it helps.
Mm-hmm.
It helps the country, it helps them, it helps all things.
Well, we know that, as you say, a lot of people from the Caribbean region are investing back home or somewhere in the Caribbean. It may not be visible to a lot of us, but it's really going on. And I want us to check out some of the incentives that countries are giving to returning residents who want to invest in their country. We have to check that out, Flavius. But in the meantime, we're going to play some music and then come right back with our guest, today's guest. All right.
Okay.
It's all about kingdom rising and falling, the fall of illusions and ego, and the rise of the true I. Rasta well done, Asante, amen. Hear this.
Be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Don't be afraid to change.
Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Hear this. Be true to yourself. Take off the mask you wear to please the system. Don't allow nobody to tell you what to say. Remember, life is more than 9 to 5 every day. So only do what your inner self deserves. Take a walk, meditate and burn your earth. Though it's difficult, don't have to shed no tears. Got change and not something for you fair.
Be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Don't be afraid to change.
Be true to yourself. Be
true to yourself. Be true to yourself. So burn off the crosses, hold some ices. Start to see life for what life is worth. Take off the wool if your eyes covered. Remember burn ego and hype, yes, that's the right thing. Make sure you put for your goals in first, and anything else you that have to reverse. And be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't be afraid to change. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. If you look, you see mankind a lose their life. Physically, spiritually, understand. Caught in a web where the world designed to keep us blind. But watch out, power in a you feel rise above it. When no door is open, use a hammer and hook it. And make your true wife reveal. And be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't be afraid to change. Be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Yes, be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself, the music of Asante Amen. He's going to be our guest this Friday. And Asante is going to be talking about Rasta and reggae music. But today, we have a returning guest. Her name is Nehanda Helmker. And she's going to talk to us. Yes, you remember her. She told us about The Richest Man in Babylon, those books. I hope you want to get yours. So this morning, we have Nehanda once again with us. Greetings, Nehanda. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I am great. And you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very, very good.
Right.
Thank you so much for having me back.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure when it comes to money. Because we know they say it's a rich man's world. But it have to come to us. We don't want to trickle down no more.
Yes, exactly.
I had a trickle down economy.
Yeah. And that's why we're here. So I'm very thankful to God for bringing us together, to being in this right place in the right time, and for all our listeners to be able to have the ears, to have this information, and to receive this information and do something with it that will help to change their lives. So amen to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we want to pick up where we left off. I know the last thing Flavius was saying to me was, well, one of the things that stood out to me when he asked about acquiring money, and we talk about the priest who was on the rooftop when the flood came. and so what are the things and what are the attitudes towards where we are when it comes to how we acquire wealth? How can we acquire wealth? How can we acquire money?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, take it away. Tell us, how can we acquire wealth?
So,
Money, then wealth. How can we acquire money, then wealth?
right. So the first thing, hi, Flavius.
Flavius.
I just kind of...
He's deep
okay.
down there in Jamaica, deep.
He's deep down in nice warm Jamaica. So Flavius and I actually we were talking in another panel discussion about building communities versus building infrastructure, and what the difference. Communities are more wholesome and sustainable, and building infrastructure, if the people aren't really understanding of what the infrastructure is for or what it's going to do for them, then it's not sustainable. And one of the most amazing things that I've found in my job of helping people to acquire wealth is attitude. And that's why I tell the story about the priest, because the priest could have seen the opportunities that were given to him as they came over and over and over again.
True.
But he had a different type of attitude and a mentality towards how his help was going to come about. So I like that story because it shows us that we get help by helping ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that it's totally in our hands.
Absolutely.
If you want things in your life to change, you have to change things in your life. So that's the first thing, is to acknowledge that you are the one who is going to change your life.
True.
So it doesn't matter if you are, cleaning drains or selling coconut water. Everybody has the opportunity to acquire wealth. And for some of us, it might start small because we're starting with maybe a small amount of money. But I think that intentionality is extremely important. So if you have a job, you have the opportunity to make wealth. So some people might say, well, I live hand to mouth. I don't have enough money to go around. I don't have enough money to save. How do I start if I have every last dollar is accounted for? So I would say to that person that you can actually start off with what you have by putting aside 10%. Like we talked about the last time, the 10% rule.
Yes.
A minimum of 10%. You won't really miss 10 cents out of a dollar, and that can start you in the right direction. So that's the first thing. If you don't have employment, I'm talking about people who are starting from the ground level, is to figure out really what you're good at and to be intentional about creating opportunities for yourself within that field of what you're good at. So maybe you might be good at washing clothes. Maybe you might be good at talking to people. Maybe you might be good at everybody's good at something.
Yes, that's
so
true.
take that and use it and capitalize with it. So you can generate some funds. When you get the money, that's the other thing, is how do we teach people how to keep money? And that's why I like the 10% rule, because that 10% rule will help you to put things into perspective. Like, okay, I have to start to plan for my future as well.
But that
and I like 10%.
10% is also a biblical thing as well, Remember they say you're supposed to give 10% of your earnings to tithe. So
yes.
So
right.
So it's from a biblical thing.
It is, and actually a lot of these principles, you can trace them back to biblical scripture. There is also the time of plenty and the time of drought.
Yes.
This is the story of Joseph when he became when he became the Pharaoh's right hand after he worked for Potiphar. He talked about recession. If people really realize that, he said, okay, Pharaoh had a dream. And in this dream, there were 7 years of plenty. Basically, he translated the dream to 7 years of plenty and 7 years of drought.
Yeah.
And the drought is actually the recession time. So Joseph showed Pharaoh how to prepare and plan for famine and when the recession takes place. And that became one of the ways that Egypt became the powerful force that it was. We can still apply that to today's time, because what Joseph did using the principle of compound interest was take a third of everything that was made during the time of plenty and then put it aside. What do most people do when they get money? And this goes back to attitude and mindset. What's the first thing you do when you get extra money? I bought shoes.
Yeah.
I went on a shopping spree.
That have me thinking it going to lead up to discipline. Because we have to discipline ourselves. Or we're going to save that 10%. Are we going to let it grow? Or instead of just put it down and tomorrow we'll go back for it?
Right. So the discipline is a part of it, and also mindset is a part of it, is a bigger part of it, because it's what do you think when you have this money? So now I automatically tell myself, if somebody gives me $100 for a contract, let's just throw a number out there. To me, I tell myself, okay, I made $90 because that $10 that doesn't exist.
All right.
That doesn't exist. Right?
That's good.
So we want to make we want to really make sure that, so if you know you want $100 for yourself, then you plan for $110, you know?
Yeah,
But most of the time, most of us, we tell ourselves, oh, when I get this money, it's all going to go towards this or that or the other. The second thing, please, nobody come for me. When I say this,
What do you mean by that?
because
Explain
well,
that
you know,
part to
some
me.
people, I don't want nobody to come for me, meaning like I'm telling you what works, but some people might disagree. Look, I'm the one with the the 6-figure income, so please, you know, this is what has worked. When it comes to paying bills, you do not pay your bills first.
Really?
And that might rub people, yeah, that might rub people, a lot of people actually the wrong way, because what happens is that people get very nervous about bills and they feel like they have to pay their bills. So when you pay your bills first, then you start to feel a little bit of resentment, like, man, all right, I have all my bills paid, but now I have nothing over for myself. So that's why you pay yourself first. Take that 10% and you put that for yourself first, because that generates a positive feeling towards the money. And then if you don't have enough to pay your bills, what people actually find out, or what I've found out, is that once I pay myself first, I'm able to pay my bills anyway. I figure out a way to pay my bills, because then I'm forced to get creative about other income sources.
So your fee, then you basically pay yourself 10%. Of the earning. All right. Sound good. Sound good. And the reason why
I actually heard that somewhere before, Franco, in a very serious way.
I recently just got that information from a friend of mine in Trinidad, and he was telling me that when you have a company, Franco, if you're not paying yourself, then it's not a company. Any business you have to pay yourself 10%. Yeah, that's the starting point. You start yourself.
Exactly. You're starting with that. If you can,
it's a mistake that a lot of us make through life, you know, especially on your own business. You know, you wrap up whatever you are doing, your expenses, along with the company, so you don't pay yourself at all.
Exactly.
So working for nothing, really.
Exactly. And you know, when you're just starting out, sometimes that's the reality. You know, you have to figure out what, you know, maybe you can give yourself a stick of chewing gum, maybe a bottle of Coke. That's your payment. Because, you know, sometimes you have like certain financial goals within your development that you want to reach. And I don't recommend that for everyone, because not everybody is at that level. And so I like 10% because 10% is easy and it's nice. It gets you into the habit of creating the discipline of saving and investing.
Yes.
So once you get into that habit, then you start to reprioritize your money in a different direction. And then you can start to save 20, 15% or more, 15 or 20 or 30% even. So that's another thing, is not to figure out how to pay your bills after you pay yourself. We actually do a lot of negotiating with our bank creditors. We don't have a lot of credit at the moment, which makes our net worth high. And so, you know, I encourage everybody to get advised about what is credit and what is liability, so that you increase your buying power. So that's the fourth thing, to increase your buying power by minimizing your debt. So, you know, if you have your bills, let's say you have your rent, you know, you have food, you have your typical living expenses. Figure out a way to make that not the majority or a high percentage of what you earn. Of course, like me, I work at home, so my office space is also my home space. And so that can be tax deductible, for example. Now I'm talking about a little bit more intricate way of financing, but for somebody who's just starting out, you want to really, really look at how you can cut your overhead costs. So everybody has these leakages.
And I think the taxman said if that space, as long as the space is a 6 by 6, That's it. That's all you need. Yeah. Can consider
right.
office space in your house, 6 by 6. Anyway.
Right. Right. Exactly. Here it's done by square meters, I think. So I use the biggest space as my office space. My husband and I share an office space in the living room at the moment, and that works very well.
Okay.
But we also have other properties. So it's really, really, really important for us to minimize our overhead expenses at this time. We don't even have a car.
Yeah.
And people look at us like we're crazy, but the bus runs every, and it's 365 days out of the year directly in front of our home.
So you don't need it.
We don't really need a car.
Is a bicycle.
No,
if you
not
want
really.
To, get somewhere down the road.
Yeah. We have, how many bikes we have? We have 3 bikes. Yeah, we can be in the city in 15 minutes, make a little bit of exercise on the way there. But people look at us like we're crazy. When we tell them what we have in our bank account, their eyes pop open like, wow, I really have to rethink what's important to me. I mean, that's the other thing. Define what's a liability and what's an expense.
Okay.
So we don't have a lot of like expensive clothes. Well, I have a lot of expensive things when it comes for winter because I'm a Caribbean girl. I can't be cold. I don't do cold. So that for me, that's an investment, right? I have to be warm when I leave my home because I like to be comfortable. So that's something that I consider an investment. A car for me is a liability. If it don't make money, it don't make sense.
Okay.
I'm not driving taxi, so that's gonna be.
but if you were doing like delivery now, right? You'd what? Buy or lease a car? Which one is best? Say
delivery?
So you had a company in your home and you have to do deliveries, but you're not using UPS to just drop it off down around the corner. You can just
that's a good point.
Or drive.
That's a good point.
Based on the weight, you might have to drive it around the corner, go drop it off. When I say around the corner, like a mile or 2, would you lease a car or buy a car? Which one is best?
For Germany, since gas is a little, it depends on a couple of things. So, what's the return on investment for the vehicle? If I'm doing deliveries, if it's to deliver within a certain mile radius, we have a pretty good delivery system here and there are a lot of options. So, I would have to say it really depends on the scale, what you're delivering, how often you're delivering it, and is it tax deductible? Is it tax deductible? So people who are running companies who are listening in right now have to really listen and pay attention to what is tax deductible at the end of the year. I encourage everybody as much as possible to have some kind of tax deductible setup because that's where the real money is what you can get return on your tax. And I know it's different per country. So it's worth the while to invest in doing a little bit of research on what you can do to have tax deductions for yourself. I registered my company so that things that I buy that I can take off of my company name can be tax deductible.
I was just coming to that too. Because from what I was told that if you have the company register, you can basically use that company to purchase stuff because you're basically it's at home. It's a home-based business.
Exactly.
So all your utility bills, everything has to come under it because
You're right. Exactly.
So if you go there and you buy some liquid soap just to wash your dishes, is the company. You understand?
Right. Exactly.
Because the receipt, you need all of those when the tax. Because I'm told that the tax code is not difficult. It's how we look at it.
No, there are even apps that you can actually download per country that can help you with that. I know we recently started doing our taxes ourselves, but we live in a social country, so a lot of these things we have a lot of taxes. So they're different tax brackets, and we fall into the.
When you say social, is it the system, the social system, like
social system,
like socialism?
Yeah, it's a little bit socialism. It's a social system where there's free healthcare, quote unquote. There's free education, and then there's a lot of investment in social infrastructural issues, social infrastructural activities.
Okay.
So you have things for children, you have things for mothers, you have things for everybody under the government budget.
It's here in America, but they don't call it socialism. They call it what do they call it again?
Welfare.
Not welfare alone, but I can't remember. You see, because I'm not using it. But when you mention socialism to Americans, they think it's communism coming at them. Because candidates just election, candidates recently lost election seat yesterday because ads were running about them being socialists. And
right. Well, America. The thing with America and Germany is that Germany has adopted a lot of capitalist ways of dealing with business because, we have a very, very large industrial automobile market. And so that works very well. However, I think because of one of the things is it's an older nation, so they've gone through a lot in terms of what it is that they want to see for the community and for the country on a whole.
True.
And so the people themselves have a better understanding as to the benefits of high tax. So our tax brackets can go as high as 30%. But you get the benefits of the taxes. So like I said, there's free healthcare and it's a pretty good healthcare system. You don't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a college education like you would in the States. And for every child born here, the parents are entitled to a certain amount of money from the state for that child's care. Even though we have other systems in place for education and so forth. There's something called Kindergeld, which is money for the child, right? And you get that every month until the child is 18.
Whoa.
It doesn't matter what. Yeah, you don't matter, and that's why Germany is so attractive for foreigners. That's one of the big things. Actually, people come here, and I'm not about that life, but it's pretty good and it's comfortable. Certain things I know to this point. Actually, maybe that might change given certain things that have happened. But I have 2 children. Those children have a certain amount of money that are going to be coming in until they turn 18.
That's good. That's good. I'm not against a country that look after their children and their elderly. I'm not against that.
Right.
Because
Of course not.
Because you have to have a healthy society in order for it to produce. And without that, you need education. You have to have a healthy, educated set of people for the country to produce.
That is similar in Canada and in UK.
Right.
And also in Sweden. Also in Sweden. It's the same thing in Sweden as well. Yeah. It's just America. I don't know what, these people, I think they're brainwashed.
The thing is with America and what Germany is starting to slowly start to increase its philosophy towards as well is that there is a social divide within the country in terms of is this actually helping the country? Because believe it or not, we have something as poor German youth. So where even though there is money for the child and money for the home and money for people who can't work or are unemployed, these people are taken care of by the system, there is still this growing philosophy that if you do that, you create a lazy nation and people are not inclined or feeling the motivation to go to work. And so it makes the country attractive for people or immigrants or people from outside to come and take advantage of that system just so that they can live off of the system. And I think that is why in the States, nobody come for me. Nobody come for me, all right? I'm just telling you what the statistics show. But I think that's what happens in the States when it comes to, conservatives versus liberal. Some people feel like, well, we don't want welfare because welfare promotes laziness. And so a lot of people not a lot. But the idea is starting to become more and more popular since 2015 that we want to stop this social system because it's becoming a detriment instead of a help. And so, it has certainly helped me to adjust because I just couldn't come here and start working like I thought I would. But the moment I was able, when I first came here, I was delivering newspapers, I didn't have no big time job like the career I had back home.
Wonderful.
But I did my job because I believe that good work ethic and doing anything, no matter what it is that I do, will help me to stay into that space and place of earning my own money to build my empire. That's always been my goal. And so I didn't get it mixed up or twisted about, okay, I have government money, now I could just kick my feet up. No, because that's not me. That's not what I'm about. And I know that there are people who come here for better opportunities who think the same way. However, there are people who are from here and who are not from here, who live here and just live off of the system. And so, how do we make the determination between a poverty mindset where I just live off of the state and a wealth mindset where I'm in a bad place. I have to get my government stamp, or I have to go down to we have job center here, and you go and you collect your money. How do I get from there to where I really want to be, which is a doctor or a lawyer or whatever? So that's what we help people to do, So I understand that they have that in the States, and there's also stigma, there are stigmas that are attached to this social system where people feel too proud actually to go to the welfare office and ask for help. Or people don't want other people to know that they have had to ask the government for help. But that's what it's there for. That's why you pay your taxes. And so we had a major breakthrough within our company when we had our first, the only bankruptcy where we were finally able to speak honestly and openly about money. So I come back to attitude again. Are we having real, open, honest conversations about money? And what are the emotions attached? Let's use that word, the emotions attached to money, because that is what stops people from their success.
What, emotion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. When we first started building our company in 2018, 2017, the third time around, we were speaking with a friend, and this friend started to talk about some rich person in such a derogatory way, right? They were saying things like, oh, he greedy, and this never enough, and I don't know why he doesn't stop working. Maybe he liked the work, maybe seeing the millions pile up on his bank account makes him feel good. Oh, you see, that's why I don't like rich people, because rich people never know when to stop, and all of them must receive from somebody. So this kind of this type of speaking is something that you hear a lot among people who don't have money, but ironically want to have money.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Like, you're talking bad about rich people, but you want to be listed among one of them.
Exactly.
That is something people do unconsciously that I used to do unconsciously without even realizing that I was standing in my own way by even speaking in that manner.
Even though you have some people who are in that manner as well, really greedy, and will override and overrun everybody just to get. You have some people that are really like that. They don't care who the person is. That's
true. Yeah. That's true. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it brings me to my next point. The reason why, because people, my daughter and I are always talking, well, why some rich people are getting richer and poor people just get poorer? So when I first started on my wealth journey, I started seeking out actively, consciously people who would speak to me about building wealth and building my empire. One of the things that I found out, the number one thing that I found out, was that a lot of rich people don't want the competition. That's honest, that's straight up. People will tell you, You have a lot of potential, and you're gonna be my competition soon. So why should I help you?
Just crush
You
you. I
know?
buy you out. I buy you out or crush you.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to help you because you're going to be my competition. And with all sincerity, that's fair. And so I made a proposal to an ex-boss of mine, and I said, look, true, I may or may not be a competition. You don't know how much money I want to make. Maybe it might be a little bit less.
Sure.
But don't you think that I would help to make the world you and I both have to live in a better place? Because I plan on doing a lot of good with the money that I make so that we can be able to rest ashore with our millions that nobody's going to come and rob us or talk bad about us. You know, we still have to live among the other people of the world. And when there's suffering in the world, we are all responsible for that suffering. So I think that, and he was like, okay, I think you're ready. I think you're ready to make some money. You know?
So
the second thing about that's the tactic that he liked to use. And the second thing is that rich people are honestly very, very busy. I'm a very busy person, and I know there are a lot of people who want advice for free. You know, I run my company, I have my children, and I have my husband, and I have myself that I have to take care of. So I don't have a lot of time in the day to be teaching people for free. Although I would like to sometimes, I'm busy running my company. When it goes, maybe I will have more time for myself. Maybe I won't. We will see. But what I found when I was looking for someone to help me build up my company was that time was very, very key and of the essence. So I had to be very available. It doesn't matter when, but I had to make myself available at any cost to get the information when it was made available to me, because I couldn't pay for the information.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you saying it is also good to ask rich people that you know for information on how to do certain things so you can make money or make more money?
Yes, I would always prefer that if you know somebody who knows something that you want to learn, to go to that person directly and ask them for advice. And so the first time I hadn't really started a plan, and I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to start my company, but I knew people who had what I wanted, who my mom had maybe introduced me to, or maybe I had worked for, and I crossed my fingers and said a couple prayers and hoped that they might want to share the information with me. With them, it's about the bottom line. Like, what is in it for them? Most of the time, people who have money, and this is another thing that people might see as a negative, but that's how you have to think if you want to make money, is what is the return on investment? So if I invest my time in you, what am I getting out of it?
You bring me to this. I remember I was listening to a talk show, and this wealthy rapper came on. He was on it, and he said that he's willing to share. I'll give information, but the first lesson he's going to give you is going to be free, and that's like half an hour. He's going to give you the first half an hour free.
Right.
And then when you're leaving, he's going to say to you, the next time you're coming back to me, I'm going to charge you for 1 hour. so if and he said, and him say without him say, and if that person, really, if that person really want to be like him, because if that person see how much money him can make and want to be like him, and him say, I give you the first half an hour free, and then the next time when you come back to me, I'm charging you for an hour, and you don't want that, you must be a fool.
Yeah, exactly. I would have to to just interject there and say that I used to do this class every year. I would invite 5 people, and I would teach them for 28 days for free.
Wow.
And I got to bring this into this because, I have my plan of what I wanted to talk about. But this is...
Are you still doing it? You got to sign me up.
Okay. Let me tell you the story first, and then you tell me if I should still do it.
All right.
I had 5 people. The first time I did it, I had like a waiting list of people. I took 5. And the first person, that 2 people dropped out in the first week, right? I'm talking about sharing my secrets and, the things that I've learned and things that I've discovered over years, books that I've read, experiences that I've been exposed to. Just compound it into 28 days. 2 people dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
The third person came on, got quit because she was there to figure out what it is I know, so that she could teach it herself.
Mm-hmm.
The last person only went through half of it because they couldn't really understand. They didn't agree with what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah, they couldn't understand what it is I was saying. So I thank everybody for the feedback. But life got in the way. That somebody told them that it wasn't important. The one person, their partner told them that it wasn't important, so they had to acquiesce to what their partner was saying.
Mm-hmm.
The other person was busy with school, so they had to drop out because that was more important. Mm-hmm. The third person had, and then on and on and on. So I love telling this story because people talk about how people who are poor are disenfranchised and they don't get opportunities. But what I was told by my rich colleagues, people who have way more money than me, they laughed in my face. They said, and they told me how this was going to happen before it happened. So when I came with my tail between my legs and said, hey, you know what happened the first time and the second time, this and this and this. And they said, see, I told you, poor people want to stay poor. They don't want to be rich. Because it's very intense. It's a very intense course. And I'm not saying everybody's like that. I have had people come in, have learned, and have done great things.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had, but a lot of the times they have this rule called the 2% versus the 98%.
Mm-hmm.
98% of people want to make excuses and don't want something for free.
Okay.
And they don't value it because it's for free.
Okay.
And so they don't understand the commitment process because they didn't pay for the commitment process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then the other 2% are so determined and have so decided that they are going to, I don't know, baby. They have so decided that they are going to change their lives, that nothing will stand in their way. And that is who the course is for.
Okay.
And so I do a lot of listening, and we uncover a lot of things about the person. But like I said, it's a 28-day process.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's only to start on the idea of, like I said, with the 10% rule, to get you into the habit of thinking a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And bear in mind that I'm trying to compound things that I've learned for decades into 28 days.
After the 28 days now, then they sign up to start paying a fee.
You don't have to sign up to start paying a fee, but that's what usually ends up happening with the 1 or 2 people who make it.
Mm-hmm.
They from themselves decide, okay, I'm ready to this is really something that I want to make a lifestyle change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do the next 28 days and so on and so on.
Hard work and discipline. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, we all
So
know,
we
all hear rich people said it, and say that the artist, well, they say the first million is the hardest one to make. After that, everything else is a breeze.
Yes.
The first million is the hardest million to make.
Yes. Because then you start to realize that it's not so hard. Money is not this big mystical thing that everybody thinks it is. It's literally energy and attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I know Caribbean vibe, and so when to be honest with you, Franco, the first 2 weeks of what we talk about is money attitude and uncovering poverty mindset versus wealth mindset. And so when I say a little piece of what I shared for free, when I say you pay your bills last,
mm-hmm.
people are like, what? Pay your bills last? And then I can't sleep the night? Yes, you will sleep at night. You don't make bills a problem because bills are always they're always going to be there. They're always going to be there.
Absolutely.
And you figure it out. So you learn the process of negotiating about money,
mm-hmm.
In the times when I may have not been able to pay my rent, I had to learn how to go to my landlord and say, yo, man, I can't make rent this week at this time, but I can make it within this time, or can I give you half, or can I make a deposit? You know, you learn how to negotiate about bills. And you also start to think about what are the kind of credits you're taking out, you know? Are you going to credit your couch? Are you going to credit the car? Are you going to credit some clothes? And why? Why are you doing that? You know? So you start to really think about money in a different way. So I want to talk a little bit about budgeting, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. You have
So before we start budgeting, I like to track expenses for a month. So that means you write down every time you spend any money or make any money, for those people who hustle and work for themselves. Anytime you make a dollar or you spend a dollar, you record it. And you do that for a month.
Anytime,
the reason why you do that,
spend money, you must record
anytime you spend or make money, you record it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So when you do that for a month, you have it somewhere physical, to a place where you write it down, maybe like on a Bristol board or a piece of paper for 30 days. Okay, from Monday to Monday, what did I spend money on? When did I make money? And so you track your spending so that you can see what your spending habits are and where the leakages are.
Okay.
There was a really nice German book that we read a couple of months ago called Coffee or Millions. And it shows that a lot of people have ridiculous expenses. Ridiculous. Like maybe the cappuccino for $10, you know, or maybe name brand shoes when there are shoes that are half the price that do just as good a job or maybe even better job.
Are the newest Jordan when it comes out, they rather buy that than
right. Getting a new phone every time a new phone comes out. Yeah.
There you go. I forgot about the phone.
Yeah. A lot of people are into that new gadget replacement thing. And you know, so is it necessary?
So with this 30 days record that you're doing, pardon me, both for expenditure and income, you have to make sure every little thing, every item that you buy,
every last dime.
Okay, I get you there.
Because the way, so there's different kinds of budgets.
Even if I'm driving and I give the guy on the roadside $1, I have to record that. That's considered expenditure as well.
That could be considered a tithe. That could be considered miscellaneous. So you want to start to this process is so you can identify what it is you're spending money on and what you need to stop. What you want to continue. What do you want to change? What you want to redirect.
I see.
Wow. The second reason for the budgeting is to find the nice sweet spot. So you start off with your 10%. Maybe you can do 12 if you notice. Maybe I want to quit smoking, or maybe I want to stop buying coffee from the coffee gourmet store and buy it from Walmart instead. Little things like that can make a huge difference, especially if it's a habitual expense.
Yes.
You could be like, you know what, man, babe, you know that I spend $50 on t-shirts because I keep buying the same old t-shirt. If I had just invested in a nice one, things like that. You start to notice patterns in the way of spending. Like, I had a client who would always buy his kids' toys. And it was the specific toy he would buy monthly. And it was something for the sandbox or something that because he could never find it, right? So this is why it's so individual. I can't give like an actual formula per person. So what he did was he bought a toy box for outside toys. So every time he would take the kids out, he would have a box at the front of the door where he would put the outside toys in and out. So he knows, okay, when we come home, throw the toys there. When we leave, take the toys out and take them with us. So that way he stopped spending, and he don't have to go all over the house to look for the toys.
Yeah.
He know where the toys there.
Okay.
so something like that. So he didn't notice that before he tracked his expenses, that he was buying hundreds and hundreds of sandcastle buckets every week.
At the same toy.
At the same toy, yes, the same one over and over again. My daughter has this thing with lipsticks, you know, lip balms. You have a lip balm in every jacket.
Yeah.
So we had to figure out a way.
Have choppy lips.
Right? So she had to figure out a way to have a.
That's something I want to ask, because there are people who they're the things that they use in their daily lives. Just like you say, the lip balm, because it enhances your beauty a little bit, because you don't want to have dry, choppy lips. But if you do that, these are things that you purchase on a frequent basis. Wouldn't it be good for you to just buy it in bulk and done? So that you don't have to keep spending, because you might see a sale. You go into Walmart and you see a sale. You can get like a set of lip balm for say $2. Give you 5 in the pack.
Right.
You take that 5. So whenever you want one, you know where it is. Wouldn't that you consider that you're spending less, because some people, they don't buy on a grocery on a weekly basis. They buy like every 2 weeks
in bulk.
Yeah, or a month.
Right.
So they know.
There are certain things.
So if they run out of tomato, they don't have to go back. They're not going back to buying a tomato, because that means they use too much on a particular day. So that
I'm glad that you brought that up, because tomato, like, there's certain perishables. Like, if you want to talk specifically about food, there's certain perishables that you can't buy in bulk because they will spoil before you get to use them.
Absolutely.
And so, we buy the big flour, we buy the big rice, and we buy the big sugar. Those are the 3 things we buy in the big group. The thing about the lip balm, she recently just figured out how many jackets she has, and now she has one in every jacket that stays in the jacket, and hopefully that works. So budgeting is about planning. It's not about depriving yourself. So that's the next, again, back to attitude. How you feel about the budget is going to reflect how you treat the budget. So it's supposed to be a guide to help you understand how to enjoy your money better and make the most of it. Make the most of what you have.
There is one I see a friend of mine does. And when he goes to purchase, like you said, non-perishable item, he put them in the freezer. So like his pepper. Yeah. And his tomato and him thyme. He put those in the freezer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he know that whenever he wants, he just take out, boom. It's in the freezer. It can't go bad. Sometimes pepper is there. He say, boy, I see a bag of pepper here. You can't take that one in, because the freezer for so long, it feel like stone. But they're good. That still can be used.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm freezing
They're good.
pepper. Yeah.
Okay,
they're
okay.
Good. They can't go bad. Frozen pepper and, we call it, the thyme and thing like that. Tomato to him, do the tomato, just that as soon as him throw it on the pipe, it thaw out, and him say it go back into the food. You know? The ice water.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, I guess that could work. It depends, again, on your budgeting style, depends on your lifestyle and what your plan. How you want to enjoy your money the best. Like, that might work for some people. Okay, I buy my everything in bulk, freeze it, and then I don't have to worry about that. Then I know what any money coming in after that is mine.
Yeah.
I've taken care of food, so I can plan better.
I know a young lady, she freeze pepper and thyme. She never out of pepper and thyme, because she always have a set in her freezer frozen. Yep. So yeah, these are, we call them perishable items, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could also get your little thyme tree.
I have a big question for you. I have a big question
for you.
Can somebody can somebody go from being living hand to mouth to actually acquiring wealth?
Yes.
Explain.
So we talked about this the last time, and so if you're living hand to mouth, again, back to the 10%. The other thing you want to do is when you do your budget or when you get money, is that you make sure that you have what I like to call, not what I like to call, there's a book about it that speaks about the fund your dream fund.
Okay.
So even if it's a 50 cents or a dollar or whatever it is, you need to make sure that you're actively, as soon as possible, you make the decision. I'm done with this hand to mouth situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put something towards my fund, my dream fund, and I'm gonna put it in a bank account or in an envelope or in a safe box, and just make sure every time you get a money, you're paying yourself and you're funding your dream fund. That might mean that you have less money for hand to mouth. And what happens is that you have to get creative. So what happens when people start to think about how can I make more money? How can I stop living hand to mouth? Is that you start to see opportunities. You ever notice, like, if you start talking about a person,
Mm-hmm.
somebody mentioned them, or you see them the next day, or you get a phone call from them,
Okay.
that money works the same way. Money works the same way. It's a vibe. I'm not being foolish, or, this is it's called the law of attraction. And I don't know if you guys have read anything about the laws of attraction prior to having this conversation with me, but you attract what it is. Okay, so the law of attraction works with everything. And it says that you have a brain. In that brain is a mind. And that mind has vibration, so electricity that goes off every time you have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about the most with passion and certainty, you attract more of that into your life.
Okay.
And that is why people do it by accident when they think about a person and the person show up. Maybe you walk into a room and you feel like everybody just finished talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you have a feeling about things that are connected, that you can't see. We call it energy, we call it vibes, vibration, that the mind is connected to, that concentrates and passes through everything. So there is nothing that's solid that the mind cannot penetrate. They recently, a long time ago actually, did a study where they hooked a person up to a machine and they connected the person to this machine, and the person had to look at a glass of water. And when they were looking at the glass of water, they measured that water, and that water, the matter of the water was changed by the fact that the person was looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't understand this, and most people have to unlearn the negative thoughts that they have in order to create and draw into their lives more of this type of wealth situations. So if I have a negative thought and I'm complaining about being poor, and I'm worried and sad and depressed and frustrated about not being able to feed my family, to take care of myself, that is my fault, but I don't know that it's my fault. But once I know that this is my fault, then I have the opportunity to then change my situation, because now I have decided to change my situation. Now, all of a sudden, I can see opportunities everywhere to make more money. And that's the work that we actually do. I can talk till I'm blue in the face about budgets and investments and marketing and 10%, and people can still be blocked because they're still stuck on, I'm worried about money, I'm worried about money, I'm worried about money. And that actual frequency, that vibration is what continues to bring more of that no money into your life.
Okay.
So that's why I like it when people get vexed. So when people get mad, they're determined to do something. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired and hungry and poor and broke. I'm going to do something. Next thing you know, bam, they're rich. So it's like magic, but it's not. So I want to say, okay, all right, you're broke, you're living hand to mouth, do this. But it happens different ways for different people. Like, situations and opportunities will present themselves. I encourage people to go find anybody who have what they want, and observe them. Mm-hmm. Observe what they do. Observe how they do it, and copy them as best as possible. Maybe have a conversation with them. The second thing is that you actively start to save towards what it is you want. First, you have to decide, of course. Decide what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Decide how you're going to feel when you get it. And make that a part of your daily routine. Okay, I'm working towards this. You stay focused, and for those of us who are living in poverty-stricken situations and places, this might be very difficult. So, like I remember listening to Jim Carrey's interview with Oprah.
Yeah.
He would go to this top of the mountain by where the Hollywood sign is, and he would imagine himself being rich.
Yeah.
So get out of that situation and get away from those people as much as possible, and start to generate that feeling of being rich now.
And do the things that can make you get rich by investing, saving, and things like that. Mm-hmm.
The thing is about living hand to mouth. So first, Flavius, it starts off small. You might find yourself maybe with 20 cents or 30 cents or $1 to $5. And then that's why I say the first million is usually the hardest.
Yes.
Because it's a little bit at a time that's acquiring. Once you start to get into the habit, you start to feel good. Then you start to feel good about feeling good. And then you start to think about other ways that you can make money. While you're doing that and putting more money in on top of that, you'll find yourself increasing the compound interest and increasing your buying power. And you start to, it just creates a ripple effect,
And Nehanda,
so yes, you can go.
For me, I think I use the first million as a figure of speech. I put it in my head and said maybe the first 1,000 is the hardest, and then
right.
move on
Good,
from that
very
1,000
good
to another. Yeah, the first 1,000.
Well, thank you so much for calming me down and refocusing that point for me, because I have it here and I never bring it up. It's called the sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
So maybe $1 million. The sweet spot. The sweet spot is what you can believe is possible.
Yes.
That's why I start with a small figure, because if you're living hand to mouth, then you can't see how you could get out of the situation because you're living hand to mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say to yourself, you know what, maybe I won't have bread. Maybe I'll have cassava because cassava is cheaper, and then I'll take the bread money and take it in half and save it. And that money is for such and such, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we had to do. We said, you know what? Let's give up the car. That was 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When we need a car, we rent a car.
Exactly.
We don't miss it.
True. And the reason why I come up with 1,000 because I'm saving towards something right now, and I'm doing some of your principles. Right.
Okay.
For it to work, and I'm going towards 1,000 because I need more than 1,000, but I have to reach 1,000 goal. You understand?
Okay.
Then again.
And do you have a time limit on this $1,000?
Oh no! I'm in no rush, but I'm doing it because I feel if I put it because of the way I'm making money, I cannot put a time limit on it yet because my income is not consistently at the time.
Okay.
But whatever I gather, I'm putting down my 10% or more too.
Right.
But
right.
I will reach. I think I'm going to reach 1,000 goal. Maybe pretty soon. Can't give you the date, but pretty soon.
No. That's it's good that you haven't put a date on it, right?
Okay.
So there are a few things that you can do that I would encourage everybody to look into, depending on what kind of hand-to-mouth situation you're in, is to look at passive income.
Okay.
So income, I know the last time we spoke a little bit about ETFs and stocks and bonds. There are different types of stocks and bonds that one can invest in, and there is no stock market in the Caribbean yet, but that's another conversation. Yeah. So there are different levels of risk within the stock market that you should take a look at that might be a good investment for you.
Okay.
The higher the risk.
Anyway, one thing, Franco, Nehanda.
Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
speak a little? Can you speak a little bit of your women's conference and the impact of like Garfood and women and money?
Yes. The impact of Garifuna women and money. So Garifuna women have been the backbone of our society. They're the teachers. They are, my grandmother, like I spoke of her the last time, was a trader. She used to trade sugar and different goods from Guatemala to Belize. And we have lots of stories like that where women have been the backbones of the economy. They were the farmers and the traders. And so we are looking for some tangible continuation within our culture so that we can continue our economic growth. Well, I am speaking specifically to the issues of economic growth within the community by helping to support, validate, and encourage and empower Garifuna women to take a hold of their communities and have more economic and stable communities through generating wealth and generational wealth. So the conference is going to be taking place, I think, this weekend. We're having another training this weekend. And we're going to we're uncovering the conversation so that we can have a platform for women to address these issues so that we can tell our story from our perspective and benefit from it. That answer the question?
That's answer your question,
Yeah,
Flavius?
yeah, man, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Super.
Thanks.
Yeah, and left 2 minutes. So the 2 minutes that I want to ask, the question I need to ask is this: banking and credit union, which is best, sir?
Oh, that sounds political. I would go with credit union with a side of buying gold. But we can talk about that in the next time when I come on. I guess I do have a couple more times to come on.
Yeah.
We can out. But I would go with credit union with the side of buying gold. And I don't know what the options are for buying gold in the Caribbean, but I know that you have options in America. And standards is still the best standard. So I would definitely say that's a good way to go. Credit unions. I like credit unions.
All right.
Personally.
And so with that,
Another thing, Nehanda, you spoke about stock markets. There are at least two stock markets in the Caribbean. I think there's one in Trinidad, and there's definitely one in Jamaica. In fact, Jamaica they won the best stock market in the world last year or the year before. The Jamaican stock market.
Really?
I never heard of that.
We need to.
Really?
Wow, we need to see. You see, then we need to talk more about that. Definitely.
Okay.
In fact, yes, because in fact in Jamaica they have a regular stock market and a junior stock market for new companies. And they have different privileges.
All right.
The junior stock market. I will send you something on it.
Yeah, please do. So, if I may, I would like to give 2 books. No Matter What from Lisa Nichols.
No Matter What.
From Lisa Nichols. This one is and Money Master the Game from Tony Robbins. This one's a little bit longer, but I think that it's worth looking at.
Money what?
Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins.
Master the Game by Tony Robbins. Okay.
Wonderful.
By Tony Robbins.
All right. Thank you, guys. Tony Robbins. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No Matter What.
From Lisa who? What's
Nichols.
Okay, I got you. Thank you very much for taking time out.
Thank you too.
and for
I really
talking to
appreciate
us
it.
about money. And I get some good tips this time.
Yeah,
Great,
man, this is
great.
tremendous.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, this is tremendous.
some good
Wonderful.
tips.
I love it. I'm glad that you guys appreciate it. Thank you so
Oh
much.
yeah.
We'll see us again soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Walk good and
Okay,
one
no
All
love.
right.
problem.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Our listeners, that was Nehanda Helmker, and I hope you guys
That was
enjoy,
fabulous. Yeah,
everything
man, that
that she
was
said. I hope you get
fantastic.
some good, information that you can use in your daily lives when it comes to money. And remember,
Yeah.
even if you're living from hand to mouth, you can come out of it. You have to be
Yeah,
mindset,
you can.
determined, and put aside at least 10%. And whatever business you're doing, make sure you pay yourself first. Whatever money you
Yeah.
have, make sure you put on 10% first before you pay any bills. Yeah, it sounds crazy, yes, but it can work. So with
And
that,
as well. Mm.
we come to the end of another program. We thank all of you in the chat room, those who are listening, watching, and we hope that you will join us tomorrow when we have Cook and Curry, Mr. Errol Sinclair from Tapioca. He will be our chef tomorrow, and Courtney, he will continue with some more poetry. And on Friday, we have singer, songwriter, and lecturer Asante Amen. And he's doing a 2-part series. And on Friday,
Wonderful.
he will talk about
Mm.
Rasta and reggae music. And the second
Oh.
series, it will be about his reggae music and thing like that. So we ask you, take care of yourself, your loved one. Always remember, prayer changes things, regardless what religion you belong to. Continue to pray. All right? Flavius,
Yes. Well, I am like a stock record, I'm like a stock record where we have to look at the respect and the discipline, the R&D. R&D of you're speaking about the new normal. Well, the new normal is R&D. Believe it or not, that's all we need to get through. If we have the respect and the discipline, we will wear our masks in public, and we will distance. I don't know the social part coming, but we will keep away from people. Don't invite too many people at your house. Make sure your house is sterile, no matter what you do. That's the place you don't want to wear the mask. You don't want the restrictions of outside, inside your home. And you only can do that if you follow the correct protocols. When you go out, you take it that, okay, I'm out, I am contaminated. When I go back in, I have to decontaminate. I have to close those clothes that I wash, and I have to self. And then you put on clean, sterile clothes, and you're free again. They have this song that says, free again, free again. You're free again until you go out. When you go out, you come back. If it's 10 times for the day, you have to do it 10 times. You can't say, I did just be a while ago, No. Because you're trying to wash off whatever is out there that is bad for you and your family. So take care, and we see you tomorrow when we hear some more about what we put inside our body, our food, because our food is our medicine.
Queen Lubafu with the Garifuna, our father.
You lead us fula. You belong far away away. Ajugwala lebo buseru. Lida mua, lida fula. Lida mua, lida fula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
Take away myself. speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know I said me if it could flee. Me I fi take away myself. Me I fi take away myself. Me I fi hide like a thief in the night. Me I fi get out of sight. Me I fi take away myself. I fi take away myself. I have to utilize my wings. Show the eye clean where I is. I said, yeah, I find you very hard to resist. With this relationship I'm gonna desist. But how can I face you when all I wanna do is just taste you? I know you think I play me, I play, but soon you're gonna see the light of day. Just relax.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
May I feel take away myself. May I feel take away myself. May I feel hide like a thief in the night. May I feel get out of sight. May I feel take away myself.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
Show the eye